Anyone who owns a Lego set knows that there are two certainties with owning a Lego set. First is that things are eventually going to fall apart and break apart. When you bump into it, you drop it, you move it, what happens? The second is you are going to accumulate dust on that Lego set. This chapter is called maintenance. Here we're going to be showing you how we do the maintenance tasks at our museum for the Lego set pieces here, which consists of dusting using a Dyson soft brush head and an electric duster, as well as checking all of the moving functions and making sure everything works and no pieces have fallen off. We'll remove the different train cars and then remove the actual train tracks itself because it's a little bit large and doesn't fit in frame, so we'll do things one at a time. It's not exactly called a UCS set, but it pretty much is when it comes to Hogwarts sets. And this is definitely one of the most exciting and most, I have to say, grandest train set that Lego has ever created and released. It's definitely larger in scale than most of the other Lego train sets, so it doesn't fit on most of the tracks, but it is a very nice display piece, and I'm really glad that they went to try to make it as close to as minifigure scale as possible. First thing we'll look at is the locomotive. Locomotive is definitely this cornerstone of this particular set. It looks beautiful with so many detailing, and the wheels, I'm just kind of a sucker for train sets. I'm not one of those Lego train people specifically, but I am one of those Lego train people. But I don't have that strong of opinions on the kind of builds and so on and so forth. So we take care of each individual side and the top. There are a lot of delicate parts here, so the duster is very helpful with not knocking any parts of those away. So this is one of the first sets that we're going to be looking at that actually has small minifigures, and which means things are going to be a little bit more difficult to dust. Now that we got most of the exterior parts, we'll have to really focus more on the Q-tip cleaning later, and then now the electric duster. With the amount of details that are in Lego sets, that means the more dust that can kind of linger, especially with a set like this, which is colored both red and black. They tend to show dust very, very easily. So let's move on to the locomotive tender car or the coal car. This is pretty easy to dust if I'm going to be completely honest. There's not many opening details here, just the great details of the coal mount on the top, which you can easily take care of with the Dyson brush. I'm not trying to say that it's not detailed, but it doesn't have too many details where it makes it difficult to dust. In fact, most of the dust can be taken off with our Dyson soft brush. So we'll be able to quickly do that on each individual side. Again, I apologize because the train is moving all over the place, but it's on wheels. So what have you, it's going to happen. With a quick once over of the electric duster, we can move on to the next cornerstone of this set, which is the passenger car, which has all the little different dioramas inside there, 3 to be exact, from 3 different movies. But the exterior itself, it's quite easy to handle because it's just pretty flat. There's 4 doors here and they all do open. So we'll be able to check those to make sure that there's nothing blocking them and no pieces are missing. The exteriors are very easy for us because all we have to really do is use a brush everywhere, gets most of the dust off. You can see here, there's little buttons on the very top of this passenger car that controls the little lights that are inside the dioramas, which are a little bit harder to see because we're in such a wide angle lens, but we'll go inside the dioramas soon enough. So it's a little bit hard for me to remember which side pops out. Oh, there we go. So I'm popping out the individual compartment doors, the sides of the train, and you can see the individual dioramas that are in here. I'll try to turn on all the lights. They work. Awesome. With minifigures, makes it especially harder to dust within the actual set itself, so we'll do just a cursory look here. I'm holding the electric duster really far above the set so it doesn't blow off any of the minifigures and any props that are inside there. So let's get the sides of the doors back on. It's a great display piece, especially because of the removability of these particular parts of the train. and we open the doors. Doors work perfectly. The roofs at the tail end of the set actually pops up, so you can see the minifigures that you can place inside the actual corridors of the passenger car. Get the electric duster in there, just get any of the dust out, and following up with the Dyson, because that's how we get the dust to not fall back into the place that we just dusted them out of, or we blew them out of. We'll go over to the other side of the set as well, which will show you the actual corridor and the hallway, which is a great touch to have because a lot of things do happen in the hallway, especially in the Harry Potter series, movie series, and book series. The Dementor here tends to fall very easily. It's not very easy. Let's just say that the Dementor doesn't really fit well into that hallway, but it's part of the diorama, so we got to keep it there. But it keeps falling out every time we clean it, so I just take it out of the actual train itself and put it back in. And now we can pop that off, and then now we're good to go. So let's move on to the next section of the train, which is going to be the track itself, which, let me tell you, if you don't really focus on the track, this is a huge dust magnet. I think for like most Lego train sets and tracks and whatnot, this is very underlooked in terms of this can look really dusty. So we'll take a good pass at going through each of the individual horizontal pieces that hold up the track itself and the rails. Underneath here can also get a lot of dust, so we'll do a little bit more careful job with using the Dyson soft brush head. The actual platform itself is much easier because it's very flat, but we have a lot of minifigures on them, so have to be a little bit more careful to not knock any of them off. We'll do a more thorough job in the actual conservation room, which is where we get to more of the finer details. But for now, that good first pass, it's all we need. And then with the electric duster following up to try to get any of this dust that might be stuck in those smaller crevices and areas underneath the tracks. So we'll keep dusting for a little bit longer and then move on to the second part of our maintenance journey. Let's turn off the duster here. It's actually a really, really powerful duster. It blows everything off very well. But yeah, I mean, we can take a closer look at all the individual components to make sure that everything is firmly in place with this set. So starting off with the locomotive, on the left side, I'll press down on the upper boiler fuselage area, making sure that everything feels very snug. Now, Lego sets can become a little bit loose. Well, actually, they don't really become loose. They just sometimes are loose after you build, since you're usually very eager to move quickly through the instructions, and I'm guilty of this a lot. Now, at the front of the locomotive, there's plenty of great detail here. I'll give that top section a little bit of a press too, just to make sure that it's on very tight. This entire front area is that's actually the top of the locomotive. I can't remember exactly how it's built onto the thing. I'm sure it's Technic frames. And since I've moved this set several times, it's good to do these kind of maintenance checks every now and then. Some models hold up better than others, and 18 plus models, let's say they're a little bit more delicate, so it's not the worst idea to double check them. Now down near the wheel wells, we have some more delicate areas too. The platform above the wheels, I don't really think it's for minifigures, but adds a nice bit of design. So taking a look at the cabin now, the roof isn't designed to be removed at all, so it feels pretty solid. Engineer is still in place too, and the interior details they're pretty tight on. I don't think there's anything very loose there. So finally, let's turn back to the very front. Here we have the more delicate details. The front couplings, the Hogwarts Express nameplate, which we'll see a little bit closer in a bit. There we go. And the train's number plate, which is right underneath it. Everything feels pretty secure, so just a little slight press to keep them pretty snug. So turning the model around here, we can take a look at the moving parts on the front of the engine. This locomotive follows a 460 structure, so 4 small wheels at the front and 6 main driving wheels in the middle. So the wheel control sits at the very top. Turning it moves the wheels super smoothly. It's genuinely an awesome feature. You also see how the moving pistons along the bottom, including that front piston assembly, all work. So we can go ahead and turn it once more so you can see all of those moving parts. You know, I might not know all the technical terms, but as a train fan, I just think this just looks really cool. So next, let's switch over to the coal tender car. Now, compared to the engine, It's simpler, far fewer play features, but the detailing is nice and it's a good way to connect the engine to the actual passenger car. On the left side here, we can see the wheel wells as well. There's going to be 6 wheels in total. And as we turn around this the coal tender around the back, there's going to be some coupling details. And these are the coupling details that will connect it to the locomotive. And we saw the coupling details on the locomotive as well. As we turn it around, we're going to be seeing a small ladder for minifigures to be able to climb up onto the tender. And we'll press along the top and the bottom of pretty much all sides of this coal tender just to make sure everything feels very secure. And some smaller touches here, like the tools they use to scoop coal into the boiler. Now, these pieces are going to be tiny, so making sure that they're snug is important with larger sets. Most details are quite small and they can be fragile at certain points. Now, up top, the coal mound is built from a lot of 2x2 circular pieces. They stay on quite well, though dusting them, it's always a little bit tricky, as you'll see more of that in the conservation series, because it's very, very detailed, which means it's really hard to get your brush in there and to brush all the dust off. All right, so as we put the passenger car into frame here, this is easily the lengthiest piece of car in this actual set, like the lengthiest car in the set. So this will definitely take a little bit longer. Starting off with the right side of the passenger car, we'll go through our usual process of squeezing together all the rooftop pieces, making sure that they all fit properly. Doorways here typically have, well, actually not typically, they just seem to have the most amount of detail. So we're going to press through the coupling, the door details, and the side piping as well. The passenger car roof doesn't have the most amount of details, but it does have a good number of pieces in its build. And overall, it looks nice, but we just need to make sure that everything is tight on there. Now we'll start looking at the movable functions. Both doors open, 1 and 2 here, and they close very well without much resistance, which is excellent. The ends of the carriage also have doors. So we'll go ahead and open this one and take a little peek into the interior, but we're going to show the interior a little bit later. And then we'll close it back up. Turning it around, we'll check the other side, which is pretty much exactly the same when it comes to how the doors open. Just the front and the rear one. Perfect. We'll close them too, and then make sure the wheels spin as well. They definitely do, and they're not too tight either. The other side of the carriage also have the same opening doors on the ends, which we'll look at more. We can check the interior a little bit later. It can be a little bit tricky to get your fingernail in the grooves that open the doors, but that's just how it is. Well, let's take a look at the cabin compartments here. So there are 3 compartments on this side and 1 more on the other. These are set up to show the 3 individual compartments for each of the different scenes that we are seeing. You can see the light up brick shining through a little bit here, which kind of helps you take a peek inside. The light is super strong, so you kind of have to use your imagination a little, but hopefully with our actual lighting setup, you can see it a little bit more clearly. Spinning it around, actually, no, before let's take a look at the ends of the carriage first. On the side, you see one of the interior sections. Now, there isn't much going on here. It's pretty much just an entrance doorway, like where the students would be boarding from platform 9 3/4. Now, if we shift over to the other side, there's going to be a little bit more going on. There's a little extra space here, kind of like luggage racks along the top, and there's also a little stickering detail inside. At the far end, we'll even see the trolley lady on display with her cart, which is a nice little addition. All of these sections are designed with studs placed very carefully, so you can position minifigures pretty much anywhere you like. And the roof pops off and pops back on pretty easily too, making access very simple. Moving on to the carriage passageway now. This is where one of the bigger scenes is set up. This is the area in which Hermione and the Dementor figure are staged. The Dementor is a bit tricky to keep standing inside of here. It doesn't seem attached very securely, and I think it's just that the bottom of the Dementor piece just doesn't really latch on to studs very well. Makes it a little bit annoying, but we just keep trying to put it on there. The big issue is once you start placing the cover back on, then it knocks the Dementor off of its perch, but yeah, I think we can manage this one. So turning it around now, we'll go and put the covers back onto the 3 cabin compartments too. They all fit pretty snug, which is good. The last one is always going to be a little bit more difficult because it's just really tight fit, but I very much appreciate tight fits when it comes to Lego sets, so things don't really fall apart. Now let's go back to our final dusting. So let's grab the cars and put them back on. First with the locomotive, making sure that it goes on the exact studs it needs to so that the actual mechanics work. Pushing that down and moving on to the coal car. These cars are surprisingly actually connected together. Just a very simple Lego collection. Some of the Lego trains have those magnetic connectors, but this is a vertical Technic piece with the 2x2 piece that slides right over it. Very simple. As we always wrap up our conservation sessions here with the makeup brush, doing a quick swift pass over each individual side of the Hogwarts Express. Starting with the locomotive, moving on to the coal cars, and then finishing with the passenger train. We're also going to be doing a little bit of the platform itself. It's a little bit harder to see from this angle, but I promise we're taking a quick pass. Again, this is just to get any of the last minute dust off that might have been stuck here while we brought everything back from the conservation room. Actually, we're going to wrap up with doing the tracks as well. As we established, that's the main dust magnet. So thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you'd like to see more. And we'll give it a spit. I guess we can't really spin it this time. So see you next time.